one, depending upon what time zone you're watching me from or what shift you work. You may be staying up late. You may be getting up early. Either way, I'm glad you stopped by. This is the Weather Channel, and we're taking you through out of Sunday night into Monday morning, let you know how the new work week is going to start out. And it is going to start out on the hot side, and it is going to start out on the stormy side in some places of the U.S., and one such place is here into the Ohio River Valley and reaching down in toward eastern Kentucky, western Virginia, and northeastern Tennessee, courtesy of some storms that started out rumbling here around Chicago and then moved through Indianapolis and Dayton and Columbus, and then started moving down into the Cincinnati area and then through Lexington, and will continue to do so through the rest of the overnight into the first part of the day on Monday. Here's where they are right now. You can see them rumbling here. You can see white clouds, big white clouds across the Ohio River Valley. Those are the tops of those thunderstorms, and those storms have produced numerous reports of hail, winds gusting up to 80 miles an hour, and around Van Wert County, 74 miles an hour around Dayton. Numerous reports of very strong winds, as I mentioned, tree damage, power line damage, tornado reported near Lima, Ohio earlier on in the evening on Sunday, and these storms heading south and some of them heading eastward, so watch out. Places like Pittsburgh and then heading over in toward Johnstown and perhaps in toward Elmira and New York City as we get into the day on your Monday. There's that rainy travel, and that's the area we're thinking we could see the thunderstorms around. Also here into Georgia and South Carolina and reaching in toward the southwest, some thunderstorms as well. And the area of strong thunderstorms does extend into the New York City area and even toward Hartford and Springfield, Mass. as we work our way into noontime on Monday as a cold front continues to press eastward and forces that very moist and warm air ahead of it upwards and triggers off those thunderstorms. Speaking of very moist air, some of that could produce some fog here, especially on the eastern side of the Appalachians, here from anywhere around heading up into the Panhandle of Maryland, down into the Great Smoky Mountains, and along the California coast with that marine air coming in off the Pacific, that cooler air. Watch out for the lower visibilities on the PCH. No fog, no windy travel expected through noon on Monday, so we won't have to worry about any getting blown around on the roadways. That's some good news. Temperatures, as we shift over from precipitation into some temperatures, very warm, 10 degrees above average here on Sunday across much of the central and northern Rockies, many places above average. High temperatures in the 100s all the way up into toward Dodge City, 90s all the way up in toward Bismarck, North Dakota. Though it was nicer here into the northeast, 80 in Boston, 85 in Pittsburgh. Numerous record highs: Moab, Utah, 111 degrees. Grand Junction, Colorado, 104. Look at this string of 100s. Chattanooga, one of the only eastern cities that had a record high. You topped out at 100 on Sunday in Chattanooga. But numerous places from Texas westward either tying or breaking records. Wow. Okay, let us now grab a look at what's going to be happening into the day on Monday. We started off with our low temperatures. As you stretch out of bed on Monday morning and head out the door to grab the morning paper in Chicago, boy, is it going to feel uncomfortable. We're talking about 70s. We're talking about high humidity. You go to take that jog in St. Louis, make sure you have a towel to mop your face off with, or else it's going to be really perspiring. And likewise, all the way up in toward Washington, D.C., only dropping down into the 70s. High pressure and control across all of the southeast. Here's that cold front I mentioned, and we will be seeing those showers and thunderstorms fire along its edge as it pushes eastward in toward Boston by midday. We'll see pop-up showers and thunderstorms in Florida and along the Gulf Coast, and some here also into the southwest. And some thunderstorms firing into around the International Falls area here in northern Minnesota by the early evening, and still a threat of showers here along our front. By and large, though, the showers will be scattered here into the southern United States. Florida may be seeing a few more, especially as that sea breeze starts kicking in and you start seeing the afternoon showers and storms. That's good news. It knocks down the fire danger. Heaviest amounts of rain, though, will be here in the Ohio River Valley with that line of showers and thunderstorms slowly working its way southeastward. And a few places in the southwestern U.S., western Arizona, could see maybe over an inch in some cases thanks to some thunderstorms coming down off of the mountains. I told you it was going to be hot, and look at this, 100s all the way up into South Dakota, the Central Valley of California seeing 100s, even 110s possible here north of Sacramento. Wow. and 90s reaching all the way up into interior parts of Massachusetts and around Albany. The heat goes on and on and on, unfortunately, and only some places will see a little bit of relief with some showers and storms. That tells you about Monday. Let's head out a little farther now. Here's the extended outlook.
Here at Physicians Mutual and Physicians Life,
we're now offering you a wider range of insurance
to suit your changing way of life.
From hospital plans that cover you immediately
to all new outpatient protection.
From Medicare supplement policies
to home health care coverage.
From guaranteed life insurance
to innovative annuities.
We're working harder than ever
to develop the kind of protection you need today
and in the future.
It's part of our ongoing commitment
to provide you with the quality,
the value,
and above all, the service you deserve.
Physicians Mutual and Physicians Life.
We've been here when you needed us in the 20th century.
And we'll be here when you need us in the next.
For more information, call us toll free.
Day or night.
Or visit our website.
We'll be
Welcome to the Weather Channel early on this Monday. It's the 20th of July. I'm Rick Griffin along with Vivian Brown, and during this Weather Center, we're going to tell you about the return of humidity and maybe a thunderstorm or two in New York City and Boston.
That's right. A little weak surface trough will swing through the area, and we could find some scattered showers later on. Rick will have a complete look at the forecast in just a moment. Right now, let's check out where our stormiest weather can be found. And we do have some scattered showers over the northeast, but the heavier rain has certainly been over the southern parts of Indiana and Ohio. Boy, has it been coming down to beat the bandit across this part of the country. We'll talk more about that in a moment. We've also had some isolated and widely scattered thunderstorms overnight in the southwest, including southern Nevada around Vegas. And we've had reports of flooding problems, localized flooding problems, and very gusty winds, too, accompanying some of these storms overnight and yesterday. We've had reports that numerous folks are without power around the Las Vegas metropolitan area. So definitely those thunderstorms have been pretty violent over the southwest. The Pacific Northwest remains quiet. Another beautiful day. Seattle, the Space Needle, 79 degrees with partly sunny conditions today. San Francisco, you should get up to about 73. So if you live on the West Coast, certainly you've enjoyed nice weather the last couple of days. High pressure over the Intermountain West, though, and still making for hot conditions. The Front Range of the Rockies, 100 degrees today. We're expecting the mile-high city of Denver. And you know that warmth will spread deep in the heart of Texas. Dallas, another day of triple-digit heat for you. There is not much relief in sight for the Dallas-Fort Worth area, unfortunately, in central Oklahoma, near the Red River Valley. It is here, though, again, we've had the locally heavy rain, and overnight, and since 8 o'clock yesterday morning, notice all the heavy rain we've had. The reds, the yellows, right here near the Cincinnati greater metropolitan area, we've had reports of anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of rain. That's what the yellows and the reds are indicating as you see the legend to the north. And the darker green shows a fairly large area of at least an inch to an inch and a half, which includes a good part of Ohio, eastern Kentucky this morning. Numerous flood warnings have been issued in Ohio anyway. Butler County, still a flood warning in effect. And for central Indiana, Dearborn and Ripley counties right here near Indianapolis, flood warnings remain in effect. Now, this is our radar estimate since 8 o'clock yesterday morning, but what is going on right now? A look at the current radar, and it shows very, very heavy rain near the Ohio River Valley here back into Cincinnati. So you know why those flood warnings remain in effect this morning. And you cross over the state border into the bluegrass state of Kentucky, and very, very heavy rain you will encounter traveling the interstates here. Please be extra careful. If you run into areas where it looks as though the water is covering the road, go the other way. You don't know the depth of the water, and you may not be able to cross successfully. You'll be surprised how quickly fast water can just basically lose contact, make you lose contact, the tires anyway, with the road. So very dangerous conditions right here across southern Ohio this morning. Other than that, we have some scattered thunder showers stretching northward near the lower Hudson River Valley here and starting to push off toward the east. And this will be the source or the system that could bring us some scattered showers later on. Boston, New York, Philadelphia. I think it will stay dry for the most part in your area. Washington, D.C., but it'll be hot, mid-90s for highs. And notice over the southeast. Well, yesterday we had some widely scattered thunderstorms with large hailstones in the Atlanta metro area, even around Macon, the Warner Robins Air Force Base. We had reports of the thunderstorms and hail, but those thunderstorms are starting to die down this morning. But again, this afternoon, when we get the maximum heating of the day, they will return. Most of Texas, again, into central Nebraska, very dry conditions this morning, and that just means quite a bit of heat expected later this afternoon. And there you see more moisture here across the southwest, and they are basically pushing off to the southwest. So locally heavy rain we've had reports of here. Our surface trough swinging through the northeast, scattering showers and thunder showers later this afternoon. And I wanted to point this out too with our warm front developing over South Dakota. Severe thunderstorm working its way east, heading straight for Huron, South Dakota. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Hand County as these thunderstorms are moving off toward the east at about 25 miles an hour. Large hailstones could accompany these storms and locally heavy rain near Huron this morning. And again, it's all making its way east. So a very dangerous scenario this morning over South Dakota. So we do have areas of severe weather this morning already to talk about. And of course, later this afternoon, the heat will be the top story. And with more details on your forecast, here's Rick.
Vivian, thanks a lot. We start with the lunchtime weather map, and after a dry weekend, it looks like there may be some wet weather as you head out to lunch around the Big Apple, maybe Trenton and Teterboro, New Jersey, probably the Berkshires, Connecticut Valley region of Massachusetts, Vermont, and New Hampshire, as well as Maine. Looks like a dry but humid, moisture in the low levels, hazy day, Detroit and Chicago, very hot in St. Louis. And Vivian just showed you the center of the heat wave here over and east of the Rockies. Now the southwest will have a lot of moisture. That means summer thunderstorms all the way from near Salt Lake City southward to the Mexican border. Storms in the northeast here will be widely scattered, but could produce locally heavy rain. It should reach 90 in New York City, where there is a heat advisory in effect because the heat index will be close to 100 before this day is out. The high today in Pittsburgh, 88, 91 in Detroit, 94 Atlanta, 104 in Dallas, and mid-90s today in Chicago.
Okay, stay with us. Coming up on the Weather Channel, we'll check out the highways and byways.
That's on TravelWise next.
If love is your question, Psychic Talk has your answer.
Are you seeing two women right now?
Oh, man.
You think that they won't know? They're psychics.
Carrying on these two relationships, you are looking at fatherhood.
Is someone pregnant now?
There's no way you could get that right on the money like that.
About your husband, he's a very dominating man, isn't he?
Yes. He likes to keep you subservient because he's afraid of losing you.
Right. I am very impressed to hear the ladies be right on target. Really amazes me. I just wanted to see if he has been unfaithful to me.
You already know. You've already had the evidence there. Yes, he is.
Wow, you guys are good.
Is there a baby in his life? Because I just picked up that he begged her to have this baby.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Everything that they're saying to you right now is
Everything
true?
is true.
Wow.
This is incredible. I can't believe it.
Everyone who calls will get a free psychic reading with our gifted psychics. It's free, so call now.
This Storm Watch sponsored by Rayovac. Thanks for joining us early on this Monday morning. Well, in just a moment, we'll talk about the flooding rains which have occurred since midnight in parts of Kentucky and Ohio. Also, the return of humidity and thunderstorms in New York City and Boston. Right now, though, the tropical update and the latest on Celia, which has been downgraded, by the way, to a tropical depression. That happened late yesterday. The maximum sustained winds now have therefore dropped below tropical storm force, sustained at 35 right now. The movement is still west at 8, and the pressure continues to rise, indicating the weakening, 1,006 millibars. On to the satellite picture. Mexico, of course, right in here, Baja California, the remnants of Celia drifting west into colder water at the moment. No otherwise in the eastern Pacific, very little, if any, further development expected during the next 24 hours. The Eastern Pacific is a favorable area for organization this time of the year. So are parts of the Gulf of Mexico, Bay of Campeche, Western Caribbean, the Atlantic Ocean waters right in here. The red zones, by the way, do not indicate that these are areas where conditions are favorable now. It just means that if something develops, this is the most likely area of organization or development. And you can see the favored tracks determined by storms that have developed in those regions during the last 110 years or so. Outside right now, a quiet morning in the Gulf, Caribbean. And east of the islands, we have a tropical wave moving to the west-northwest towards the islands. And right now, we are not expecting any significant, any rapid organization with that system. First close-up stop, Gulf of Mexico, cloud-free, most of the Caribbean too. There are, by the way, some very weak circulations, but there has been very little thunderstorm activity developing with those weak little cyclonic flows or weak disturbances, if you will. So we're not expecting any development in the western Caribbean, for instance. There's one near Cuba. Here's that tropical wave easing its way towards the islands. And the most significant effects will be thunderstorm activity and squally conditions. But in terms of tropical organization, right now we're not expecting anything. Although, of course, we will continue to watch that area very closely. It is a favored region for development this time of the year. An unfavorable area, the eastern Atlantic, just off the west coast of Africa. So we watch these tropical disturbances, tropical waves flare up over land, but as they hit the cooler water, they tend to die out, and the latest one is doing just that. So we have a quiet situation. Time to plan ahead.